Medicham in this case also fairly good against the Obstagoon on WDAGE's side.
All right, well, Mark, let's move into game number 1. A really tough start for WDAGE as the Obstagoon lined up versus the Medicham. Immediately pivots to this Shadow Alolan Ninetales versus the Medicham. But Medicham does have an energy advantage and will be able to reach a Psychic before the Alolan Ninetales can reach the Dazzling Gleam. Nonetheless, WDAGE wants to throw energy before Elam gets to the Psychic and throws the Weather Ball.
Yeah, this is really smart here from WDAGE's side. He wants to get the chip damage in. He knows that Dazzling Gleam might carry a little bit higher risk. Elam, however, is going to bait with an Ice Punch and is actually going to be able to get a Protect Shield here before dipping out into his own Alolan Ninetales.
Well, he did not need to use a Protect Shield. He knew it was not the Dazzling Gleam. At this point, does bring in the Alolan Ninetales. This would be a huge call by Elam, but he has been baited a couple times before. WDAGE may have read into that and gets a successful bait this time with the Weather Ball. Now it's going to be a race to this Dazzling Gleam. It looks like that Elam is the first one to get there. Will WDAGE shield up this bait? It is the Weather Ball. Here it comes. I don't know that this is enough to knock out, Mark.
I don't think it is, and WDAGE makes a great read here because he is going to be able to reach the Dazzling Gleam here. However, Elam is aware of this, is forced to throw the second Weather Ball here. Is not going to be able to carry too much energy out of this matchup.
You know what? A relatively safe play because 2 Weather Balls do still knock out roughly the same amount of energy. Now the Obstagoon is going to have some play and come back in. It's going to get some energy versus this Alolan Ninetales. WDAGE opting to throw this Cross Chop into the Shadow Alolan Ninetales before it's able to get to the Dazzling Gleam. The problem here is that this is not going to be enough to knock out, and this Alolan Ninetales is now 1 move away from the Dazzling Gleam. That's super effective damage. We keep seeing bait after bait after bait. No one wants to throw the Dazzling Gleam, Mark. It's only Ice Weather Ball.
Yeah, and this is actually kind of good for WDAGE here because for Elam, you know, I think he didn't want to risk having such a move shielded like this. He is going to be forced to dump his energy yet again over here, and WDAGE, I think, is very happy to let this one go just so he can start getting ahead on energy with the Trevenant. But again, Elam kind of makes a little bit of a mistake into a switch here, but as we know, Wholesome, as casters, we know that the backline here contains a very, very nasty surprise for this Trevenant.
I will never forget the words of Auburn in Charlotte. Why don't you run the Trevenant? Well, I don't want to see Noctowl, and that's going to be very unpleasant matchup. Once we see the reaction on WDAGE, yes indeed, he shrugs it off. He says, I know I have no opportunity. This Noctowl just needs to get to his Sky Attack to knock it out. Can easily use its Wing Attacks to farm all the way down. You can see a little chuckles from both of these trainers here. They see what's happening on their screen. They can see into the future, and the future holds a Sky Attack. Here it comes, down goes the Trevenant, and game number 1 will be going to Elam. He's now 2 games away from resetting the bracket, but he's still got a lot of wins he still needs to try and get that championship title. Let's find out that we are moving into game number 2. We have the Lantern lined up versus the Powder Snow. Alolan Ninetales, a quick swap out from Elam. This will bring in the Medicham. WDAGE now has the answer, and it's the Trevenant going to be hitting super effective with these Shadow Claws.
Yeah, and we have almost a reverse of the first game over here in terms of backlines here. This time, WDAGE is bringing the Noctowl in the back, double answers to Medicham to be able to protect this Lantern here, and we might see the same kind of scenario unfold, Wholesome, in the other direction for this match.
Well, we keep talking about these Pokemon that alignment is so critical. WDAGE said, you know what, I'll bring all 3. The Noctowl, the Lantern, as well as the Trevenant. Fortunately for him, does have the positive alignment. We'll have that Noctowl ready to go for that Trevenant. When it eventually does come in, it's going to need to find a way through that Alolan Ninetales as well. Elam not wanting to reveal the Trevenant just yet will be bringing in the Ninetales. But keep in mind, this Trevenant has all sorts of energy, has the Shadow Ball ready to go, and will be unleashing it. Elam properly shielding here.
And Elam going to get a very good farm off of here. He's going to be down a shield against this Lantern here, but I think he's going to try to get to a move over here and then swap into the Trevenant. Is going to be met by the Noctowl that we know as from the caster perspective, but Elam's going to have a very tough climb back into this battle here.
Well, need to land a Dazzling Gleam, but this time WDAGE opting to shield it, knows that that could be devastating. Now we're going to see this matchup play out again, this time not in the favor of Elam, this is going to be in the favor of WDAGE. This Noctowl has no problem at all farming down this Trevenant, and it's going to come out with tons of energy to still line back up versus this Alolan Ninetales. I think that you can see a reciprocal matchup here, just like WDAGE understanding that, hey, this game might be close to over. Elam opting not to throw any energy whatsoever. In fact, going to let this Sky Attack go through as well. And Mark, I'm expecting to see this series evened up 1-1.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a situation of where whatever you can do, I could do better right here. WDAGE turning, flipping that scenario from game 1 straight back onto Elam right here. It looks like both trainers need to go back to the drawing board here, try to figure out a new strategy, because it looks like so far trapping a Trevenant has kind of been the theme of these 2 games.
I call it feast or famine. You either win hard or you lose hard. You have to try and get that alignment, and fortunately for WDAGE there, he did have it and now finds himself 2 wins away from earning the title of Hartford Regional Champion.
It looks like we're going into the 3rd game here, and both trainers thinking alike here. We have an Alolan Ninetales mirror match over here, and this might come back down to how many Weather Balls or how many Dazzling Gleams are actually going to connect.
Well, we've got 18 tails on your screen, but how many baits are we going to be seeing in this matchup? Here comes the first one. WDAGE immediately going for this Weather Ball here. Did build up to the Dazzling Gleam. No shield from Elam. A huge call. He has the energy this time. WDAGE now needs to make a call. Will he shield up the Dazzling Gleam? WDAGE also making the proper call. This is becoming very interesting, very quick, Mark.
And now, it looks like, however, though, Dazzling Gleam does cost quite a bit. WDAGE is going to be able to get quite a bit of Powder Snow damage here. I think he can now comfortably go for the Weather Ball spam, and it's up to Elam to decide how much he values this Alolan Ninetales here.
Another gutsy call, but keep in mind, this is the double back-to-back Weather Ball, just like we were seeing earlier. Do you now want to use a Protect Shield on a Weather Ball? Elam says, yes, I want to try and get some more damage out. Need to get to that Dazzling Gleam. Will we see the double shield coming from WDAGE? Yes, indeed, investing here in this Shadow Alolan Ninetales. Knows that it still has a lot of work yet to do. Willing to invest in Protection. Here comes the Medicham, though. This will bring out the Trevenant. This is quite interesting here. Did not want to get farmed down, but now finds himself in a terrible matchup, does Elam.
Yeah, and this is going to be very interesting here. Elam does have the shield advantage here, but it depends right now about where he decides to allocate the shield. Of course, Medicham doing a super effective Ice Punch, but here's the thing. The Trevenant already has so much energy. I think we're going to see, we're actually going to see the Shadow Ball come out from WDAGE here. I mean, right now, you're going to have to ask yourself, Trevenant, can you be a hero on Elam's side? Can you farm this all the way down? Because you do have a clear path to victory, but it is going to be very difficult.
You have, while the path is clear, it is a huge uphill path. There is a big lift that goes on this Trevenant. You're going to need to farm all the way down. If you're counting, you know that this is a Shadow Ball coming up, and you have to invest the Protect Shield. What this means now is that, yes, you'll have a little bit of energy. There is a Lantern waiting in the back for you, which is tremendous news for Elam. But keep in mind, it still needs to get through that Alolan Ninetales on the side of WDAGE. Has a Move Sword ready to go, immediately throws the Seed Bomb. I don't know that this is enough to knock out.
I don't think it is, Wholesome, but there's a potential play right here. There is still, the switch timer is up. Can Elam make the read? He does. He tries to go for it, does not get the switch in, and unfortunately WDAGE has the Weather Ball loaded here. This is gonna, if it doesn't KO, it's gonna be doing a lot of damage here, and it does look like Alolan Ninetales is able to close this out against Trevenant.
That's right. Even though the weakness of the Lantern in the back for WDAGE versus that Trevenant, the energy on that Alolan Ninetales was pivotal. What we needed to see from Elam was able to get to a Shadow Ball to knock out that Alolan Ninetales, but that was not the case. The Seed Bomb was thrown. Okay, well, here we go. WDAGE has the Trevenant. What does it want to see? The Medicham. Tremendous lead for WDAGE. This could be it. An immediate swap out from Elam. Going to bring in the Galarian Stunfisk, just like we said, but the best matchup for this for WDAGE is going to be this Trevenant. However, Elam is able to manipulate switch clocks a little bit and delay the swap here from WDAGE. Able to get to the Rock Slide. Will we see a Shadow Ball thrown from WDAGE? Building up a lot of energy and opting to throw the hard-hitting Shadow Ball. Elam needs to figure out, do I shield or do I want to try and turn switch here?
And Elam opts to let this one go. I mean, I think he has to sense that this Galarian Stunfisk is very important here, but WDAGE, I mean, he's staying in. I think this Trevenant is still going to be very valuable against Medicham. He's going to be leveraging the Alolan Ninetales here, does use the Protect Shield here to preserve as much of the Trevenant as possible. I mean, if you're Elam here, looks like it's going to be a charge attack priority. I mean, there is a C-Bomb coming in. Elam opts to use the Protect Shield right now, but I mean, I think we're one Shadow Claw away from the next C-Bomb. I think this Rock Slide is going to get it fairly close within range to KO.
Yes, but what I'm concerned with is that it's not going to be quite enough to KO, and I think this Trevenant might be able to Shadow Claw all the way down. It's going to be a race to fast attacks here. Who will be able to farm the other one down? You have the C-Bomb ready to go, and you have to throw it at this point. I'm actually curious to see if Elam wants to shield. No, decides not to. In fact, just lets the C-Bomb go through. The Trevenant now has been mostly removed from the field, but alignment is so key in this scenario. Now, keep in mind, Mark, this Medicham actually has decent play versus both of these back Pokemon, and the decision WDAGE makes right now could be huge. Brings in the Alolan Ninetales. What this means is Trevenant will get realigned versus the Lantern.
This is going to be a very spicy ending, Wholesome. I think it started off as not so great with the Medicham against the Trevenant, but right here, this shielding decision and these charge move selections is going to decide the rest of this tournament.
All right, well, WDAGE in Game 3 was able to ride this. Oh, and we have the defense drop from the Psychic. All right, we have now another time, yet again, WDAGE opting not to go for the Dazzling Gleam, but instead go for the Weather Ball. Elam does not take the bait.
Here.
Okay, but we have another one ready to go, just like we've seen. This could be the decision now where Elam wants to invest in this Medicham. He has to worry about his Trevenant because it does take super effective Powder Snow damage. Will you get... Okay, and we have the Ice... Or sorry, we have the Ice Punch come through. I don't think it's enough to knock out, but Alolan Ninetales will have to throw energy if it wants to knock out this Medicham.
And we do see the immediate switch here, and we're going to be bringing in the Trevenant against this Lantern right here. All of a sudden, Elam has new life in this match. He's going to get to the C-Bomb here. I imagine he's going to be farming up to double C-Bomb here so he can back-to-back bring a C-Bomb into the Alolan Ninetales as well. But Lantern right now, all the moves are resisted. This is a Spark Lantern Wholesome. It doesn't have the fast move pressure that Water Gun would carry.
Yeah, you do have the shields down now, but I think that yet again, WDAGE is understanding the writing on the wall here, and that yes, my fish does not have an answer versus this grass Pokemon. Here comes the Seed Bomb, has energy ready to go, shields are down, charge move priority does go to the Trevenant. We won't need it though. Elam ties up the series 2-2, and we will be moving to a decisive game number 5. But that was turned out that Lantern versus Trevenant was the final nail in the coffin there. We're going to be seeing the Obstagoon make it back to the field for this Game 5, guys. Let's hear the hype in the crowd and in the chat. This could be it for WDAGE, or will Elam reset the bracket? Obstagoon now throws a cross chop versus this Alolan Ninetales. How do you respond to this Alolan Ninetales? It's hard to bring in your own, Mark.
Yeah, I think lessons learned from the previous one, bringing it in and having to go through this whole series of Weather Ball and Dazzling Gleam baits is not where you really want here. I think Elam here, very comfortable with this matchup. You're going to be throwing Weather Ball after Weather Ball, but Obstagoon with shields up, you know, you can still deal a lot of neutral damage, and you can see this is adding up against this Alolan Ninetales.
These counters add up very quickly. It is the higher base damage fast move compared to Powder Snow. I think if WDAGE wants, might be able to just two-shield through this Alolan Ninetales, and alignment is so key here. WDAGE is hiding that Trevenant in the back. He knows Elam has a Noctowl. Maybe he didn't bring it, but Noctowl is something that is a possibility, and he wants to make sure that he gets to dictate where that Trevenant goes. Now that said, shields are down at this point. Here comes the Weather Ball. I don't think this is enough to knock out, and these subsequent counters from the Obstagoon likely will be able to dictate the switch alignment. Oh, and actually lets a couple of fast moves come through to lower his own HP. Smart play.
Yeah, and this is great for WDAGE right here. You just got the alignment here in this match. You're down shields, but that is completely okay, because if you take a look at the back line right here, you're going to be able to comfortably Trevenant into this, and then it is up to, and it looks like from Elam's side, it is up to that Noctowl to try to sweep through an Alolan Ninetales.
Well, that's the question. Will it be able to do that? This Shadow Alolan Ninetales builds energy so quick with Weather Ball. It's at a slight energy disadvantage, and it's also down a Protect Shield. But keep in mind, it should be able to, with that quick switch, still be able to get to 2 Weather Balls before this Noctowl is able to get to 2 Sky Attacks. Here comes the first Weather Ball. WDAGE has stacked 2 at this point. Elam's going to need to invest this final Protect Shield, but there's another Weather Ball waiting. This Noctowl is about to get removed from the field. I think it might be able to just barely hang on, but you still need it for this Trevenant.
Yeah, and unfortunately with shields down, we saw earlier, Wholesome, if Noctowl is very, very low, then Trevenant can still power through it with Shadow Claws. We are going to be able to get to the Sky Attack here, but then Noctowl does not have enough left in the tank to be able to handle this Trevenant. It looks like WDAGE is going to be winning this matchup right here. Trevenant is going to come in right here, usually a nemesis to Trevenant, but he's going to be able to Shadow Claw down the Noctowl here, and there are plenty of energy ready to go. Double C-Bomb is going to seal WDAGE as the winner here. He's going to go for the first one. I think Elam has kind of reserved to the ending right here. We're going to see the first C-Bomb go through, and I think it's just going to be a few Shadow Claws away for the next charge attack. WDAGE is going to be punching his ticket, or already punched his ticket, but is going to be getting that travel package to Yokohama, Japan. Congratulations, WDAGE. The C-Bomb, the Shadow Claw down on the Noctowl has sent you to victory at Hartford, Connecticut.
Congratulations to WDAGE. An incredible matchup as he hobbles over to Elam with the hurt knee and all, able to play through the pain. And he is your Hartford Regional Champion.